Jefferson Pilot Sports, a division of Jefferson Pilot Financial.
Last year, LSU and Auburn met in the last regular season game of the year to decide who would be SEC West champions. The Bengal Tigers beat Auburn for the West title, then went on to win their first conference title in 13 years.
Tigers win! Tigers win! And LSU is the 2001 SEC football champion.
Now LSU comes to the plate sitting on top of the West and aiming for a repeat. But Auburn is looking for revenge and trying to get back on the winning track. It's a battle of the Tigers next. Touchdown! Can you believe it? Touchdown! Oh, my! He's in the end zone! Touchdown, my God, a touchdown! Touchdown, Tennessee! The Auburn Tigers were denied a spot in the SEC title game last year by the LSU Tigers. And today, the two teams will meet in Jordan-Hare Stadium in Auburn, Alabama. And it's an important game for a number of reasons. LSU, undefeated in the SEC West, can inch a little bit closer to Atlanta in the championship game with a win here today. Auburn, if they have any desire to stay in this race, need a win desperately today. Hello, everybody. I'm Dave Neal alongside my partner, Dave Bro. Well, we know about some injuries on both sides of the football, but Dave, let's begin with LSU's defense. Here's a group that hasn't been pretty offensively, but they've been about as pretty as you can be defensively, maybe the best in the country.
Well, they are the best in the country, but they had a huge loss in Davian James this week. But let me tell you this, when you're the #1 defense in the nation, Dave, you're that because you've got a team of players, not any one particular player. What you do is just pick it up and go on.
Well, Auburn will go at it with possibly a new starter at quarterback. For more on that, let's check in with Dave Baker, who's down the sidelines with Auburn's head coach. Dave?
Tommy, you decided to make a move at the quarterback position this week. Why did you do it?
Well, we just needed more consistency, and Daniel's done a good job for us, but it's time to give Jason a chance. He's played awfully well.
The way things went down in Baton Rouge last year, there's not a lot of good blood between these two teams right now.
Well, it's just an old-fashioned rivalry. That's what it is in the SEC. Nick and I are good friends, but when you play football, it's anybody beat anybody.
Yes, sir. Thanks, Tommy. Good luck to you. Dave and Dave, it is incredibly loud down here. This is the third time that we have been to Auburn, and even though it's early in the day, the joint is jumping. This is going to be a raucous house for this SEC West battle.
Nick Saban, the head coach of the LSU Tigers. And there is Damon Duval, who will not kick field goals today, but will retain his kickoff and punting duties for the Auburn Tigers. Back to return the opening kickoff, Dominic Davis. Dominic Davis, sound over the 20. Davis to the 30. Dominic Davis with an outstanding return. And here's our Chevy starting lineup for the LSU Tigers. There is Dominic Davis. Look at the all-purpose yards, 177 per game. That's best in the Southeastern Conference. Solomon Lee will be your fullback today. Up front, Ben Wilkerson, Whitworth, Peterman, Sale, and Reed. That group pretty solid so far this year. LSU has had some pretty good success running the football, throwing the football today. Will be an interesting story with the freshman behind center and Marcus Randall. Excuse me, the sophomore out of Baton Rouge, Randall, making his first SEC road start. And a loose football. The Auburn Tigers have it, and the place erupts.
Dave from the backside. He's going to get hit from the backside. You see him come in there. That's Ratliff, number 83. Comes in and hits the football and knocks it out.
A huge return by Dominic Davis out to the 30, and then LSU coughs it up. Dontarius Thomas with the fumble recovery. Their first turnover for LSU in 9 quarters. Incomplete pass intended for Robert Johnson. Well, we didn't have a chance to look at that Auburn defense.
No.
We'll look at them a little bit later, but here's the Auburn offensive lineup and our Chevy starting lineups. Marcel Willis, look at those big receptions for him. 19 of his 24 catches have been for first downs or more. Offensive line a little banged up. We'll get into that a little bit later. And off inside the 30 goes to Trey Smith, the true freshman. And here's Chevy's starting lineup defensively for the LSU Tigers. And, well, they'll have a big hole to fill on that defensive front, as it appears that Marcus Spears will be out today with a bad ankle. He suffered a sprained ankle against South Carolina last weekend. Linebackers, pretty good. I mean, what can you say about those guys? Turner, James, and Lawrence. And then Norman Lejeune has played a little bit linebacker and corner and safety, and that secondary is going to be hampered with the loss of Damian James, who has been suspended indefinitely by Nick Saban. Pass batted down at the 35-yard line by Lionel Turner.
Great idea to get your hands up in there. Lionel Turner, number 58, this side. Watch him jump up. You read your quarterback, get those hands up. He almost caught that thing, hit him right directly in the hands. Good play.
So here comes a field goal opportunity for Auburn right out of the gates. And you know, this young man, Philip Yost, might be churning a little bit inside, taking over the field goal duties for Damon Duval. Yost, his first field goal attempt as a collegiate player, one of the best in the country coming out of high school. From 46 yards, no good. And LSU dodges one big time.
Oh, that's huge. You got to get in there. You've got to get points when you get in that situation. You have got to make this. No, it's 45 yards. I know it's your first kick, but you've got to make it. And when you don't, you give all the emphasis, all the excitement back to the other team. Again, he got great leg into it. It just never curled in.
So LSU with a second opportunity with the football. Randall will throw. Pass is caught at about the 31-yard line. Michael Clayton with the reception for LSU. And let's go back to that Chevy defensive lineup that we didn't have a chance to really get a close look at. Reggie Torbor is one of the players to keep an eye on today. Wayne Dickens moves in at a tackle spot, replacing Spencer Johnson, who will not play today. Carlos Dansby, the converted wide receiver, is a huge playmaker in that linebacker core for Auburn. Secondary has been pretty good this year. Not great by coach's standards, but still pretty solid. Handoff gets a couple of yards. It's Dominic Davis. Mark Brown, the first one on the spot for Auburn. Let's go down and check in with Buzz. Buzz?
Dave, one thing to keep an eye on are the field conditions here. This field at Auburn is overseeded with ryegrass. Look how long it is. It lays over the top, and it makes things very slick. You're a golfer. You know what it's like. Sometimes the club doesn't come the same way. The ball doesn't come off the club face the same way every time. That's what happened with that last kick as Yost pushed it and didn't get the turn he was hoping.
We'll see how that bears on his confidence throughout the day. Third down for LSU. Randall fires. Pass is caught by Michael Clayton. That'll be a first down. Clayton's second catch. Marcus Randall with his second start, first on the road. And what a hostile environment it is. And I think that's a big question from the coaches. Sure, he managed the game so well last week, had a lot of support from the fans, but it's a different story on the road.
It certainly is. You see he has a wristband on. That takes some of the pressure off because he doesn't have to read as many signals. But as he's under a lot of pressure, nothing will help him better than to get 2 or 3 completions, get a few first downs, get some confidence back.
Randall to roll out, stops, pivots, has some running room. Tripped up at the 45. He dives forward to the 46-yard line. Jay Ratliff, the one who got a paw on the foot of Randall. What I liked about Randall last week, Dave, was really he never looked like he was scared or out of sync, or he just had that confidence that, yeah, I can do this.
Yeah, but it's a lot different, Dave, when you come into a game and you're just kind of sitting there and, oh, you're in. But then when you've had the whole week to get prepared for it, and he has, and coming in here with this crowd, it's huge.
Dominic Davis slicing his way through out into Auburn territory. That'll be a first down for LSU. Travaris Robinson on the tackle for the Auburn Tigers.
Boy, you used the right term with Dominic Davis. He slices through. We try to do a lot of comparisons of Dominic Davis to LeBrandon Tofield. Totally different. He's a slasher.
Dominic has really stepped up. I mean, this guy plays a lot of plays when you consider kick returns, punt returns, and he's on the football field probably 70 of 80 plays offensively. Pass is caught. Reggie Robinson, Roderick Hood out there with a good hit on Reggie, the senior out of Shreveport, Louisiana.
The hardest thing for a wide receiver is to go high, know you're going to get hit, and hold on. Look what Robinson does. Goes up high, just comes right in there and sticks him. I like the way that Marcus Randall is running this offense. Good play selection, takes some pressure off him, send the plays in, but he looks nice. He looks confident back there.
6 plays on this drive. Adai takes the ball close to the 36-yard line. Adai, the freshman out of Houston, Texas. Well, when the Jefferson Pilot Sports Crew is on the road covering SEC football, we like to eat at Huddle House and always enjoy their big house breakfast and lunch platters. On this drive, 5 runs, a couple of passes, another first down for LSU. Dominic Davis stumbles forward for a couple of yards.
Interesting, Auburn has decided to try to put a little bit more pressure, stop this run on that first down. They brought a safety that time, blitz through. Dominic Davis almost broke that. If he'd gotten through the line of scrimmage into the secondary, it was a big hole in the middle. But that's what you have to do on defense. You have to disrupt the tempo. And right now, LSU's got tempo. They're passed well, they're running well.
4 wide receivers in the game for LSU. 3 to the top, 1 to the near side. Michael Clayton stands by himself. Here the Auburn bench. Will play action, and Randall will keep it, and he is met big time at the line of scrimmage. Mark Brown along with DeMarco McNeil on the spot for Auburn.
Well, I really like the play of Mark Brown, the middle linebacker, 52. When he hits you, he hits you. Watch him come into this play. Squares up, drives you, got great leg drive. Flat out can make him. He's a football player. Great kid to talk to. A lot of fun yesterday.
66 tackles, having a tremendous season at that middle linebacker spot. Here comes the 10th play of this drive. Hadn't eaten up a lot of yardage, just 38 in 9 plays, but it's been effective. 3rd down. Randall has time, fires. Pass is picked off by Travaris Robinson. Robinson has a lot of room. Robinson still on his feet down to the 28-yard line. The 2nd turnover caused by this Auburn defense in the 1st quarter.
Well, Nick Saban knows that the momentum has changed. And what happened that time is Marcus Randall just threw it up. You don't do this. The safety's reading his eyes. He's out there playing center field all by himself. He's got no coverage, just reading that quarterback's eyes. And Randall just threw the ball up. Should not have thrown that one.
2nd interception on the year for Robinson, but it's the 1st interception for the LSU quarterbacks in 124 attempts. Here's Ronnie Brown. Gets a couple of yards.
David's really interesting talk with Bobby Trino, the offensive coordinator of Auburn yesterday. We talked about what his philosophy was going to be. See there, the 12 interceptions. That's pretty good. Defense doesn't seem to be having a problem with interceptions.
LSU came in +5 in the turnover department. Auburn came in +6. That's 3rd and 4th respectively in the Southeastern Conference. And today Auburn +2. Campbell gets hit as he fires. Pass is caught on the far side by Marcel Willis.
Under a lot of pressure, quarterback stands back there. This is right down his throat. Good move in there. Jeremy Lawrence just levels him. And again, good strike out there. Look the ball in. Get positive yardage. Try to move those chains. Don't come up with that 3rd down at 8 or 9. Come up with 3rd down at 3, 4, maybe 5.
Saw Hookfin, number 33 for LSU, had a couple of big interceptions last week against South Carolina in the 3rd quarter. One of them went for a touchdown. Campbell will run. Jason Campbell inside the 10, down to the 5. Jack Hunt brought him down and saved a potential touchdown. A gain of 17.
And what you do when you're a quarterback is you look to see what extra things you bring. And what Jason Campbell brings is a running quarterback that's a big, strong guy at about 6'4", 220. Excellent block. Watch Brady James. He just gets locked up in there. Ronnie Brown, number 23, the running back. Boy, that is a great block. Tie up that middle linebacker.
17-yard scamper, the longest of the year for Campbell to this point. I formation. Handoff goes to Brown. Touchdown, Auburn.
You can see the concern on Nick Saban's face, but for Bobby Petrino, the offensive coordinator, he told us, I said, how are you going to handle Brady James in there? He said, we're going to run right at him. That time they ran at him and went untouched right up the middle.
Here's Philip Yost for the point after. He hit 1 point after against Western Carolina. That's his only PAT of the season. And that PAT is through the uprights. And Auburn, with 2 first-quarter turnovers, takes one of them back for a touchdown. Ronnie Brown caps off Auburn's first score of the game. Pull one out here at home. But there is a long, long way to go. There's Dominic Davis. Back to return the kick of that man, Damon Duval. Davis' first return went for 31 yards. Dominic, by the way, leads the SEC in punt return average and is 6th in the conference in kickoff return average. And will not touch that one. So LSU will take over for the 3rd time. This drive will start at the 20. They fumbled on their opening play of the game. And then had a nice little 9-play drive going before the Marcus Randall interception was returned 54 yards that set up Auburn's touchdown moments ago. So Randall comes in, his first interception of the season. See how he responds.
Well, don't leave your offense. Stay with what you do best. He had a great drive going. Maybe give it a little bit more to Dominic Davis. He was so effective.
Lee in a dive. The running backs in the I formation. Lee the fullback. Here's a dive. It's maybe a yard or two, and I tell you, it is loud at Jordan-Hare Stadium right now. These fans are desperately wanting a win. And Dave, you know, there's been a lot of talk about this rivalry, Auburn and LSU, but let's first go back and look at some linebackers.
Well, a couple things on the linebackers. You slide, you don't commit, and that's what they did well. You see the linebackers are setting off the line, Dave, an extra yard. That was one of the adjustments that they were going to try to do to get a little bit more vision, a little bit more flow. There's the main man in the middle, Mark Brown, number 52. He's the one that directs everyone.
A dive is stuffed at the line of scrimmage by Mark Brown.
Well, I told you I like Mark Brown. He has the mechanics to play football big time. Look at this. Square up. You see it. You recognize it. You come up and you stick it. You get a little bit of help from the backside lineman. And that's Jackson, T.J. Jackson. But again, that's a football player right there.
LSU has rushed it 9 times for 25 yards. They've completed 3 of 4 passes. And another 3rd down for LSU. 4 receivers in the game. Auburn's defense on the spot. Henderson brought down by Reggie Torbor, the defensive end.
Dave, we talk about keys, and Reggie Torbor's key on this is backside containment, number 82. He's got backside. He's right perfect in spot. If it's a reverse, anything comes against the grain, that's his key, that's his responsibility, and he plays well. They really missed him on those 2 games that he was out with that knee sprain.
Johnny Jones back to punt. Roderick Hood will return the punt. Auburn stands at his 10. Good kick from Jones under severe pressure. Hood fields it at the 29. Hood out to the 40-yard line. So a nice return by Hood, sets up pretty good field position, and there's an injured player on the field. We'll update that story when we come back. Auburn leads 7-0. We'll be back after word from your local stations. The Auburn Tigers lead the LSU Tigers 7-0. They have pretty good field position. There's the man that was injured on that punt return. Adrian Mays, the junior out of Houston, Texas, got up off on his own power and made it to that bench. But here's Campbell under pressure. Jason Campbell out into LSU territory. Finally tripped up and falls at the 45. Lionel Turner got his hand on the foot of Campbell to bring him down.
Well, you talk about the difference between big plays and broken plays. Are your quarterback making a decision? Watch the pressure on the backside. It's going to get him. Right here it comes. And he just steps up in front of it, breaks through. Hookfin was coming from the outside corner, found a safety blitz, and Campbell turns it into a huge game. Good decision.
14-yard carry by Campbell. 1st and 10 Auburn. Ronnie Brown trying to get to the outside. Brown cuts it back in. Taken down at the 38 by Randall Gay. Ice House scoreboard. Another big Saturday. Seem to all be big at this point. Miami over West Virginia 10-7. That in the first quarter. And about 4 hours or so south of here, Florida State and Notre Dame going at it. Michigan, Iowa, the Big Ten. Iowa on top of the Wolverines. Brown nowhere to go. LSU's defense stepped up to the task. Might have lost a yard on the play.
Well, you have to come up with downs to move those chains. They picked up 7 yards on 1st down. Brings up that 2nd and 7. Why not throw a little pass in there? Got to get a little bit anxious for Nick Saban. It's, oh boy, we need to get some momentum. They need something to happen. 2 big, huge turnovers. Good drive. They have just been shut down. This is not the same Auburn team that we saw a couple of years ago. I mean, a couple weeks ago, I should say.
Nickel package for LSU on the field in a throwing or an apparent throwing situation. 3rd down and 4. Play clock down to 6. It'll be Campbell running a little bit of option, and that didn't go anywhere. Lavallee on the stop for LSU. The junior out of Marksville, Louisiana.
What happened on this play is Campbell got a little anxious. There's his pitch, man. See, they played that pitch really well. They came out to the outside. That was Jack Hunt, the safety. He had the pitch, man. You got to wait for that to develop if you're going to run that quarterback option from the shotgun.
Duval to punt it away. Damon Duval leads the SEC, is 4th in the country with a 44.9 average on 27 punts. Dominic Davis back to return. He is the best in the Southeastern Conference, averaging 19.1 yards per return. And Auburn will take a delay of game penalty as they had to rush some players on the field. They only had 10.
On the offense, 5-yard penalty, remains 4th down.
Duval has hit 8 of his 27 punts inside the 20-yard line.
Well, that distance is not Duval's problem. He has to put it inside the 10 in the coffin corner, you know, get it away from Dominic Davis. That's his concern. Don't punt to Davis. There's a lot of teams would love to have Dominic Davis returning punts.
26-30.
High kick. Bounces and splits the 4 defenders, but a flag down at the 10.
Well, this is going to be an interesting call. If this goes against, maybe against Lejeune.
It will be against LSU. That information comes from our referee, Thomas Ritter.
And we may be able to see it. I think it's Lejeune. Right there at the bottom of the screen, you see the block in the back. That's the hand in the block in the back. That really puts LSU back in trouble. They're inside the 5-yard line.
Welcome back. Other receiving team penalized half the distance to the goal line. 1st down, timeout. Radio timeout.
1:48 to go in the first quarter. A lot of noise in Jordan-Hare Stadium today for this classic SEC battle. No time to sit down. We've got some football as LSU is backed up inside their own 5-yard line in a packed Jordan-Hare Stadium. Dave Neal, Dave Rowe, Dave Baker. Glad you could join us on Jefferson Pilot Television. Handoff goes to Davis, and he might have lost a yard. Or did he fall? He fell forward for a yard.
What a defensive decision there for Auburn. They brought up a safety blitz, brought him up in the line, trying to get that pressure up in there. They're trying to get a lot of people on the line. That time they guessed right. I wonder if Marcus Randall's got enough, just enough gumption just to sit back there and maybe pull it down, look downfield, throw a pass, a little play fake action in the line. Passes a lot of time in this situation or one-on-one, Dave.
LSU starting position has gotten worse. 31, 29, 20, and now the 3. There's Gene Chizik, the defensive coordinator of Auburn. Randall rolls out to his right. Has some running room. Might have got a first down. Dexter Murphy chased him down, but it might be good enough for that Tiger first down, and it is. LSU will move the chains and get out of some horrible, horrible field position.
Well, they moved the chains on the talent on Marcus Randall. See everybody jamming inside. Look, 8, 9 of them in there. And Randall uses those legs to get outside. He's got movement. And then he makes a great decision right there. Sets him up, comes inside, picks up the first down. Good decision. Don't force the ball. Pick up what the defense gives you. They're out of trouble.
Fresh set of downs. High formation. Davis the tailback. And whistles and flags come a-flying, and it's not the play clock. It was at 6 when the snap was off.
I think it was Eric Edwards, number 47. He fell out of his stance, if you can believe that. He started falling backwards and just kind of kept on falling backwards, trying to keep his balance.
False start. Moving in the offensive line. 5-yard penalty. Remains first down.
Look at 47. He's falling back. Just couldn't keep his balance, Dave.
So now it'll be first down and 15 for LSU. Jimbo Fisher, the offensive coordinator, on the right-hand part of your screen. Former Auburn quarterbacks coach from 93 to 96. Dominic Davis takes the handoff. Nowhere to go. And Auburn's defense is not the same one we saw 2 weeks ago when Arkansas gave up, actually Arkansas's Fred Talley ran for 241 yards against this Auburn D. But today Auburn has played with some passion and some inspiration, and the 86,000 on hand have probably had a little something to do with that. We have completed 1 quarter of play. Auburn leads LSU 7-0. We'll come back with our Jefferson Pilot SEC Game of the Week after this. Last year 27-14 in the last regular season game of the year. The win sent LSU to the SEC title game. A little hostility between some of the fans and players and whatnot. It was just a mess, and well, the Auburn fans have been waiting for this one for almost a year. LSU fires. Randall's pass through the hands of Michael Clayton. Would have been a tough catch. That'll bring up third down. Our Gatorade first quarter stats look like this. LSU only 36 yards rushing. Dominic Davis, 6 carries, 16 yards, averaging about 2.6 per carry. And those LSU turnovers, 2 of them, but have only resulted in 1 touchdown. LSU's offense averaging 3.1 yards per play.
Huge situation here. Third down, you got to pick it up. If you don't, you're going to give Auburn great field position, and they got the momentum.
Randall. Out across the 15. A flag comes flying late at about the 26-yard line. Dontarius Thomas, playing on a bad knee, made the tackle.
Lock in the back, that's an easy call. You know, it's amazing. The Auburn players getting to the ball. Look at the number of people in there on the tackle. You see 1, 2, 3. Thomas is in there. I mean, they're just, everybody is moving. Dansby's in there. A lot of shirts moving to the ball. They're going to get great field position, Dave.
At halftime, we'll be taking a look at the Alltel halftime stats and much, much more. Dave Baker will be along for all those activities. Donnie Jones will punt it again. His first punt went 47 yards. and saw a pretty severe rush from Auburn. See what they do here. They're coming again, but flags down. Jones gets the punt away, but a flag down at the line of scrimmage. Anxious to see what that call is. A lot of time on the play clock once again.
Well, it almost always has to be movement to stop the play. That's gonna hurt LSU even more. Auburn putting a lot of pressure. You're right. Those big linemen.
Ball start on the offense. 5-yard penalty.
But those big linemen trying to pop up there. For Nick Saban, boy, it's got to be concerned. Nothing has gone right for him. Offense hasn't responded well. 2 turnovers. Just totally uncharacteristic of his team.
Third penalty of the afternoon against LSU. Jones. It's a high kick. Hood will take it at his 47. Hood fumbles the football. Who's got it? LSU has it near midfield. What an exceptional break if you're an LSU fan. My, oh my. Auburn thought they were going to have great field position. And now LSU's back in business.
Well, you can't fumble in that situation. The worst you're going to do is get the ball at midfield. What he does is he gets his arm raked back. Watch right in here when he gets hit. The hand comes right in there, just rakes his arm back. Ryan O'Neal looks like the hand in there. Look right there. Ball comes out, you rake it down. You got to credit LSU for tackling the football. And boy, was Tommy Tuberville upset.
Tommy tells us that's one thing that perhaps his biggest pet peeve. Fumbling the football. Randall back in. Davis gets the handoff. Dominic Davis gets out over the midfield stripe into Auburn territory.
Now you want to pump up your offense, get a turnover like that midfield. Now your offense goes out there and they say, hey, we haven't done a whole lot. Now we need to just relax. Now we need to come after them. For Auburn's defense, they've got to come right back out there. They played well, but now it's all of a sudden where you go, uh-oh. And Tommy Tuberville knows that. This is a game of emotion. You've got to play with emotion, and Auburn had all of it.
Second down and 6. Lee, the fullback, Davis, the tailback. It's a little option, and Randall, the quarterback, will keep it and gets to the 45, DeMarco McNeil. McNeil had a tremendous game down in Gainesville last weekend. 6 total tackles, 2 tackles for loss. And he's just a guy that they really count on now that Spencer Johnson is out. Spencer out with a sprained ankle. And those 2, Johnson and McNeil for Auburn, have been kind of their stalwarts when healthy. They just haven't been healthy.
Well, you got to have those guys in the huddle, Dave. When you look around and you have your doubts, there's those guys that have no doubt. And that's the kind of player DeMarco McNeil is. I don't think they can hear the audible.
Well, timeout taken by Marcus Randall and LSU. 7-0 Auburn will return to Jordan-Hare Stadium after this message from Texas Pete.
Dave Baker back here with you at Auburn. LSU facing a 3rd and 7. The Tigers 11th in the SEC in third down conversions. They're 1 of 4 today. Jimbo Fisher said they've got to do a better job on this down. And Dave Neal earlier in this situation, Marcus Randall threw a pick.
And he just threw another one, Buzz. Picked off by Carlos Dancy. Mr. Big Play.
Well, we talked about getting your hands up. Watch Stansby 11 gets his hands up and then just looks the ball in, comes down with it. Huge play.
Dave, he's a former wide receiver.
He showed it that time. Huge play. Just huge. He did a great job. When he got there, looked into the quarterback's eyes, put his hands up. And now all of a sudden you got a Marcus Randall who's got some doubts.
Well, I tell you, LSU had a golden opportunity. They get the turnover off the fumbled punt and give it right back to Auburn. Campbell trying to turn the corner. Jason Campbell flagged down. That would be good enough for a first down, but I don't think it'll stand.
Yeah, that's going to come back because of a hold. It might have been Brandon Johnson, the fullback in there, but it's going to come back. It's negated.
Brandon Johnson, you see the tattoos on his arms. He gave those to himself. Yeah.
During the run, holding on the offense, 10 yards in the previous spot, remains first half.
Well, fans, now is your chance to enter today's You Pick'em sweepstakes. Just go online at jpsports.com, click on the Toyota banner to register and pick the winners. Weekly prizes will be given to the participant with the highest point total. The grand prize winner, to be announced on November 23rd, will receive a new 2003 Toyota 4Runner. The Toyota You Pick'em sweepstakes. See jpsports.com for the official rules. Entrants must be legal residents of the states of Alabama, Florida, Georgia, North Carolina, or South Carolina. Campbell under pressure, goes down at the 42-yard line. Just couldn't get rid of the football.
Oh, he looked downfield, and he had Silas Daniels on just a dart down the sideline. Watch his motion. He's got good vision in the pocket. He's looking downfield, feels the pressure, moves around. Now he saw Daniels, and he was going to go, but he just didn't have enough time. Pocket collapses around him.
Will Muschamp, the young 31-year-old defensive coordinator. He was a graduate assistant here at Auburn. He, too, with some ties. Of course, played his football at the University of Georgia from 90 to 94 in the secondary. There's Trey Smith bouncing off a few LSU defenders, gets maybe a yard or two on the play.
A hard line play in there. If you're a defensive player, you got to stand them up. Don't make the seams. You see at the point of attack, good dig in there. I mean, we're talking about getting down, digging in there, rooting them out. Brady James just coming off the football. I mean, they're playing hard in there. So that's just I mean, I love that play. That kind of style of play, big man on big man. He's one of the winners.
Recently named one of the 11 Butkus Award finalists. Narrowed that list from over 50 down to 11. Campbell hit as he throws. Pass is caught over the middle to his tight end, Robert Johnson, who had 3 catches against the Gators last week. Pressure came from Randall Gay on a corner blitz, but Campbell able to get rid of it.
Well, Campbell saw the pressure coming. Watch how quick he throws it right in there. Just kind of darts it in there. Again, good strike in there. Big man Robert Johnson comes down with it. They like his size, Dave.
But not long enough for a first down, so Auburn's going to have to punt, do ball back on the field.
26.
Davis stands at his 10.
43.
High kick. Davis will let it go. Auburn this time right on the spot. Down by Lamel Aegis. And LSU backed up again. A 43-yard punt. But at least LSU will have their fans behind them as opposed to the Auburn students.
Well, Dave, sometimes we overlook the punting game. That was a great example. What you do is you don't play the man making the fair catch. Damon Duval liked it. Look at him. Yes.
Well, there's about a yard, you could say, between that football and the goal line. Davis gets a couple out to the 3.
And again, Auburn using that safety blitz, bringing those linebackers in there. A lot of crush up on the front line. See the people darting in there at the end. Mark Brown on the run. You see Dansby coming across. A lot of penetration. They're guessing that LSU is going to run the football. If it was me, I think you throw out this situation. Bring it down, little play fake action. See if you can get one of those one-on-one situations.
Second and 7. Clayton in motion, stops at the tight end. Dominic Davis hit a couple of times, falls forward. Out with a 5, about the 6. Maybe got another couple of yards. That'll bring up third down and about 4. Nick Saban. His club has rattled off 6 straight victories and are in control of the West. But today, Auburn trying to battle back and get into the race again at 2-2 in league play. Gene Chizik, the defensive coordinator, knows this could be a substantial stand. 3 receivers to the near side, 1 to the top. Out of the end zone, Randall fires, picked off again. Donnie Young at the 20.
What he does is make a bad decision, Marcus Randall. He's just throwing the ball into an area. Strong safety is just playing his eyes. There's no receiver even near it. That's Donnie Young, number 10. He's the only one that was open. Again, watch this right here. Bad decision. Donnie Young, look, there's nobody even around him. Who was he throwing it to?
Matt Mock back in Baton Rouge. Probably wishing he was here to maybe help his young quarterback, Marcus Randall, get through this trying time. It's been a rough first half for the sophomore. Chris Butler in the game for Auburn. Gets the handoff, gets a couple of yards before Brady James meets him in the hole off tackle. But Auburn now with 3 turnovers, four turnovers, I should say, for LSU. Robinson with an interception, and then Donnie Young just picked off an interception as well. So there's Daniel Cobb. Was the starter through the first 7 games for this Auburn team, but it's given way to that man, Jason Campbell. Campbell fires, has his man. Devin Aromashadu, the true freshman out of Miami Springs, Florida, takes it down to the 5-yard line.
And Dave, one of the things that Bobby Petrino told us yesterday, the offensive coordinator, is that when Jason Campbell moves in the pocket, he squares up, lifts his chest, and throws well. Look at that throw. Just that little sling of the arm, that was right in stride. An incredible pass.
The true freshman now has caught a pass in every game that he has played for Auburn. That's 8 straight. Chris Butler on the handoff. And already some news on that Auburn sideline concerning injuries. For more on that, let's check in with Buzz.
Dave, Auburn moving the ball so well. Troy Reddick, who got the start at left guard today, being worked on the bench. They're looking at his right angle.
Oh,
Danny Lindsey back in the game for him here at a crucial time on this Auburn drive.
that has been a concern, Buzz. Here's Brown again, trying to get to the outside. Brown dives for the end zone and is out at the 1. Excuse me, Butler.
And Dave, so many times we talk about the blocks of the linemen, but we forget about the tight end. Robert Johnson got a great drive block that time on Mays, strong safety. If I'm in this situation, hey, 3rd down, the shortest distance is right at the middle. Unfortunately for Auburn, that's LSU's strength.
Butler has 3 carries on this drive. Campbell fumbles the football on 3rd down.
And let me tell you why he fumbled it. They were going to go with an option down the line, and he pulled his hands out too quick. Look at there. See, they were going to come down the line. They were going to little play fake in there. Heads-up play by Campbell to come back up with it.
Philip Yost will come on. 4th and goal from the 2-yard line. Yost missed his first attempt from 46. This will be from 19. Yost kicking right into the LSU fans. It's a line drive bullet that might hurt somebody. Maybe that was the intent. It's through there, and Auburn leads it 10-0. Second quarter, 6:07 to go. Back after word from your local stations. LSU needs a spark, a big play. They're blank through a quarter and a half, but one thing is for sure, they brought their fans from Baton Rouge and from all over the South to Auburn, Alabama this weekend. You know when LSU comes to town. Duvall's kickoff is a deep one that Dominic Davis will let sail out of the end zone. Turnovers have been big in this one. 4 already for LSU.
Well, it has been big, and fortunately for Auburn, they've been able to capitalize. Early, that first fumble by Dominic Davis, then just a wild pass, not to anybody. You just don't see it. And again, Randall's he's had no luck whatsoever. He's had 3 interceptions. Again, he threw it into coverage, had no place to go, threw it out there, just threw it up, and Auburn responded with excellent field position, and they've made them pay. They've capitalized.
LSU with 4 turnovers resulted in 10 Auburn points. Dominic Davis has had a tough time finding some room today. Dontarius Thomas runs him out of bounds. Dominic Davis coming off a game where he had 113 yards rushing against South Carolina. And Davis is a guy that accounts for 34% of the team's total yards.
And let me tell you, Dave, when you're in that huddle and everything's going bad, the one thing that you do is get back to what you do best. It hasn't been Marcus Randall's arm. It's been the legs of Dominic Davis in the past. They need him to just start breaking out, doing something.
Davis, 10 carries, 27 yards. His 11th carry coming here. Drives out over the 25 to the 26-yard line. That'll bring up 3rd down and 4. T.J. Jackson with the tackle for Auburn. Miami by 10 over West Virginia on our Ice House scoreboard. How about that? The Seminoles and the Fighting Irish 10-10 in Tallahassee, Iowa over Michigan. Virginia Tech leading Temple. Wake Forest over UNC. That game in the second quarter. 3rd down and 4. Very manageable if you're LSU, but the problem is they're only averaging 2.9 per play. Randall under pressure. Randall fumbles the football. They'll say he's down at the 29. The crowd erupts, obviously, but I think Randall a little bit shy of the first down. A flag is down in the Auburn secondary at the 44-yard line.
Oh, when you make force a quarterback to bring the ball down and then have a defensive penalty. Oh, wow, it's not. Wow, I was going to say where that penalty flag was thrown, I mean, that's 20 yards down the field past the play. You force that quarterback to run the football, the one thing you don't do is do a defensive penalty. But the ground cannot cause a fumble.
DeMarco McNeil, Dave, all over that front line for Auburn this afternoon.
Yeah, and that time Randall was down. He made a good decision to come across on the ball. But you're right, DeMarco McNeil playing strong along the line.
LSU will have to punt it away. Auburn declines the penalty, and Donnie Jones will head back near his goal line again. Marcel Willis now back to return the punt, replacing Roderick Hood, who fumbled earlier. Willis stands at the 45. Not as much heat on Jones. This is a good kick. Nice tight spiral. And a big hit at the 44 by Brady James. Wow. There's an athlete, folks. 46-yard punt, 6-yard return. I love watching Brady James play football. Watch the big fella. Back to Auburn after this.
Football season in the SEC, and there's no better place to...
LSU trailing Auburn 10-0. 4:34 to go in the second quarter from Jordan-Hare Stadium. A couple of tight ends on a 1st down and 10 for Auburn. Ronnie Brown back in at tailback. He'll get the handoff. Gets to the outside. Ronnie Brown 1st down to the 36-yard line. Randall Gay nearly lost his head on that one. Brown had a lot of steam going.
Boy, Danny Lindsay got a great block on the play. Came around the outside. This is what cut everything inside. And you can see where Ronnie Brown saw that little seam to the outside, Dave. That's what you call running over him, isn't it?
Lejeune did lose his helmet.
Yes, he did.
Boy, Brown got around that corner and had some speed going. A little bit stronger than Cadillac, maybe not as fast. Here he is again, going to the other side. And you see some of that speed that LSU has on the defensive side of the football. One of their assets on that defensive group, why they're the elite defense in the country at this point. For the best deals on cars, trucks, and SUVs, visit your local Toyota dealer today. Auburn on first down today, Dave, has rushed it 9 times and has thrown 1 pass. They're averaging 4.8 yards per play on first down. And the reason I bring that up is that Bobby Petrino, the offensive coordinator, made a real issue about first down plays for this Auburn offense. They'll have another opportunity for a first down play as Robert Johnson takes it down to the 15 before he's tripped up by Lionel Turner. There's Bobby Petrino.
Well, Robert Johnson, the tight end, is a huge target, 6'6". And when he comes across, he's got great hands. Again, there he is left. He's going to come right across your screen there. You see number 87? There he is. Look at the hands. Great soft hands. He picks up an extra 6, 7 yards by keeping that balance. They really like him, but they said he just needs a little bit more consistency. And he'll get that by playing.
Brown. It's a couple. Worked hard for those 2 yards. Marquise Hill. 94 makes the stop for LSU.
And Dave, you talk about what does LSU need? They need a break. They need a turnover. Will Muschamp, the defensive coordinator, he's saying, hey, we'll take anything right now. Just a good stop, just a hold, because they've been on their heels the entire game.
It's LSU defense. Nearly 40% of their opponents' plays have been for no gain or negative yards. Trey Smith running all over the field. Comes back, gets the handoff. The speedster inside the 5. Touchdown, Auburn. The true freshman from Venice, Florida, with a second touchdown.
Well, number 69, Mark Herra, gets on the outside of Melvin Oliver and just turns him back inside. The big guard leading the play. They really needed that. That's why you can get around that outside.
You add up the total distance, he probably ran a quarter mile. He was in motion and got the handoff. And Yost, point after. That was hit very solidly. For Trey Smith, 2 touchdowns in his young Auburn career. The last one gives Auburn a 17-point cushion with 2:10 to go in the second quarter.
Well, when you get those big blocks up front, you're just running with them. You get to the corner, and then you just turn it up, use that speed. And Ben Nolan cuts off Brady James. You're the middle linebacker. You can't get cut off. And he does. He cuts him off right there. Outstanding block by Nolan. Oh, that's it. I mean, when you catch a Brady James and you're able to cut across in his face, you're coming off the ball.
Allen, the center for Auburn, rated out at 90% last week against UF, which was the best among those offensive linemen. Looks like he's playing pretty well again today. Trey Smith, though, happy. Dominic Davis, a big play man, needs a big play right here. Duval will kick off for Auburn. Been a strange game. Nothing like I would have expected.
No, we expected grind it out in your face. This has been a game of turnovers, and I'll tell you this, not many teams recover from this many turnovers. LSU is a team that makes great halftime adjustments.
LSU had only turned it over 11 times total coming into this one. Here's Davis, 3 yards deep. Dominic Davis has some room up the middle. Dances his way to the 25-yard line. That's where LSU will take over. It was almost like LSU's coverage baited him right down in the middle. There's a flag at the 37-yard line of Auburn. That might be in the offsides department. I tell you what, if I'm LSU, I might have Auburn kick it again. I'm giving Dominic Davis every touch he can get.
Yes, I would do the same thing, Dave, if in fact it is offsides, because Dominic Davis is one of those play breakers. He can get that momentum going for you.
Encroachment on the kicking team. 5-yard penalty, re-kick.
And we'll do it all over again. Well, next Saturday, Jefferson Pilot's SEC Game of the Week comes from Oxford as Auburn battles Ole Miss. We're getting down to the last month of the season, so this Western Division showdown should be a good one as both the Tigers and the Rebels fight for survival. Join us next Saturday. That's 12:30 Eastern, 11:30 Central. Last year, the Tigers won 27-21. Ronnie Brown had 84 yards. Manning almost threw for 300 yards. But Carlos Dansby will have his hands full trying to catch up with that guy, Eli Manning. Dansby, by the way, with an interception today. Manning on one touchdown pass away from setting the new Ole Miss record in that department this afternoon. The Rebels taking on the Razorbacks this afternoon. Duvall's kickoff. Boy, it's a good one. It sends Davis back, and he has to take a knee. Wow. Oh, my goodness. So LSU gambled, and it was a calculated gamble. But now LSU loses 5 on that transition. They're at the 20.
Now, LSU does not want to go in. No points, no momentum, nothing going right. 4 turnovers, and Auburn ahead. What they need to do is use that little roll action. Use Davis if you get a chance, but they need to throw the football downfield. They're not throwing to their wideouts.
Actually, a loss of 13 between the 2 kickoffs. Randall rolls to the near side, fires, pass is low, incomplete. Devery Henderson was the intended receiver. Henderson, 6 foot, 190 pounder. Opelousas, Alabama.
Now, I will tell you that when Randall does that rollout, Dave, he loses half the field because he's rolling strong side. He's rolling away from his other offensive receivers. I know he's under pressure, but sometimes you just got to stand back there, let those big offensive linemen block, look downfield. But he's got 2 wideouts each side. Find one of them deep.
Well, they've got some speed demons on this receiving core of LSU. Maybe it's time to test it deep. But they'll go the handoff. Joseph Adai gets a couple of yards, and that'll bring up a 3rd and long again. And this is where Auburn can lick their chops and sit back and wait for the pass.
Absolutely. A minute and a half left. They got 1 down. They've got to stop them. They can get the football back. But I'll tell you this. I was just watching Dontarius Thomas come across. You talk about some momentum. I mean, they've got some spunk on this defense.
You know, if you're Nick Saban over there, you're just thinking, no, let's not turn it over again right here. I wouldn't be surprised to see LSU run it and hope that Jones can get off a good punt, because turnovers have been the story for LSU. 4 of them in the first half. Shotgun for Randall. They'll run a little option to the near side. Randall keeps it, gets close to the 30. That's going to be very close to a first down. I think he might have gotten it.
Boy, it is close. When he dove right for the line. He had to make the 30-yard line. That's where they're marking it. That's an easy call. But good decision right here. Don't force the football. See the area where you can turn up and look at him go. Stretch to make that first down.
All right, clock ticking. Inside of 40 seconds. Adai tripped up, a gain of 2 on the play, and DeMarco McNeil 4 tackles from his tackle spot on that defensive line. Stay tuned. Coming up at halftime, we'll be highlighting the best of the SEC presented by Don Pablos. As always, Dave Baker will join us in a matter of seconds. Randall's pass caught by Myers. That'll be a first down. Clock stops at 9 seconds.
But you know what's amazing to me? They didn't call timeout on the last play. They wasted about 10, 12 seconds to run up there. Maybe they're content just getting it out, but then when you're in hurry-up offense, you're running out there with no huddles. You're thinking you're trying to get in scoring position. They're just going to let the clock run out. Wow.
LSU will head to the locker room trailing 17-0. Auburn came out with some intensity and passion. They know what's at stake at 2-2 in league play. They're in a must-win situation. Let's check in with Buzz.
Tommy, I know you'd like to have some more points, but other than that, it was a dominating half of football.
Well, we stopped the run, tried to force them to throw the football, and we caused some turnovers. That was our talk all week, and we wanted to start fast. We hadn't started fast all year long, and it's great to get the crowd in it. You know, we hadn't had the crowd in it all year because we hadn't started very fast.
You made the change in the kicking game as well. Phillip missed the first one, but it looks like it's taken pressure off Damon. He's pinned him deep on the punts and kicked it out of the end zone.
Hey, kicking game's been great. You know, we're scared to death at 31. But Phillip just barely missed this one down there. He'll get his confidence, but the whole key is our defense is playing well. We just got to be able to continue to play well and create turnovers.
All right, thanks, Coach. We appreciate it. Best of luck. Second half, 17-0. The Tigers find themselves on top of LSU. We're back with more scores and highlights from around the country when we continue right after this.
Stadium. Here's our Altel halftime stats, and not a lot of yards, but really the story has been just the ineffective passing game that really hasn't helped the LSU running game at all.
Yeah, they have not been able to get in Cork. They just can't do anything. They're not running the football well, therefore they're not passing the ball well. They've had 4 turnovers. I mean, it has been a terrible half for Nick Saban and his staff.
Well, you know, you look at Jason Campbell, who's also making his first start this season, although he was 5-3 as a starter a year ago. But Campbell, Dave, you look at his numbers, 4 of 6, 48 yards. He's just been in control of this offense, much like Marcus Randall was last week for LSU.
But he hasn't made the mistakes. That's the big thing. He hasn't made the mistake. And, Davis, we look at the keys to the second half. It's going to be an interesting second half. Buzz told us that LSU makes great adjustments. They need to eliminate turnovers. They need to capitalize on opportunities that they get. For Auburn, they need to score with offense. They have not moved the ball really consistently on offense. Their defense has given them such great position.
All right, we'll keep an eye on those Dave Rowe Toyota keys to the game and see what happens. Marcus Randall, 5 of 10 with 3 interceptions. We'll see what he can do in the second half. Stay with us, folks. In the walkways, hoping that Auburn can hold on here, but they lead 17-0 to the Auburn Tigers. Let's check in with Buzz.
Nick, you said the key was going to be how your quarterback reacted when he made bad plays because he was going to make some. What kind of read did you get on him at the half?
Well, he didn't do very well in the first half because we had 4 turnovers, 3 interceptions, killed us with field position. We had terrible field position and couldn't do much. And, hey, they're doing a good job against us. We're not running the ball very well and controlling the line of scrimmage, and we got to help them out some by executing a little better.
Other than that, the way you guys score, you're only down 17.
Well, I'm probably fortunate to be that. I mean, defensively, I think we can play a little bit better, and we haven't made any turnovers or made any plays, and that's going to be a key to us getting back in the game.
All right, thanks, Coach. Best of luck second half. That's Nick Saban, Dave.
Nick will tell you like it is. Enjoy spending time with Nick and talking some football. But here's where LSU has been awesome this year, and why they're 6-1 and 3-0 in the league. They are outscoring their opponent 72-10 in the third quarter. Marcus Randall will have to find a way to get it up and going. I mean, it's been one of those halves, Dave, where you're a little anxious about a young quarterback on the road in the SEC, but then when you come out and you throw those 3 interceptions, do you try to do anything differently with a Marcus Randall?
Well, what you do is you take him in the locker room at halftime and you settle him down. You say, this is what you're doing well. This is why you're not having success on certain plays. But he just needs to take a deep breath, get back into his offense, do what he does well. He's got good foot speed. He can do it, and I'm sure that that's what they've talked to him about.
Corbello's kickoff is a short one. Trey Smith takes it, bounces around like a pinball and tripped up. Flag comes down at the 22-yard line. I'll move Auburn back, but Jason Campbell comes in, and Dave, we talked about it at halftime, and that is he's a guy that's just been in control. He hasn't done anything to hurt this football team.
No, he hasn't. He's made good decisions. When the pass is not there, he's brought it down and run with the football. When he has needed to pass, he's thrown with accuracy. He found his tight end one time after that fumble right there. He found his tight end, made a wonderful pass on a 3rd down to get a 1st down. He's done a lot of things that you have to do to win a football game.
Comparing the numbers, 5 of 10 for Randall, but those 3 INTs. Campbell, by the way, came in here. I mean, we shouldn't be surprised at his completion percentage today. Came in 73.5% in that department. And here he hands off. Can't have a couple for Ronnie Brown. But Campbell has been very consistent. He's come off the bench and rattled this offense when they were down and rallied Auburn to a victory. You know, at Syracuse, he came off the bench, completed 10 of 15 passes, 117 yards, a couple of TDs. He went 12 of 14 against Western Carolina, 8 of 11 against Arkansas, 5 of 7 last week against Florida. Those are good numbers, and, you know, he's earned the right to start, I believe. Boy, LSU coming out. They know what their mission was, and that stopped Ronnie Brown in the running game.
Absolutely, and I can tell you this, LSU on defense has made changes. They're going to try to get a lot more people to the ball. Now you've got to hold on. This is really important. You see Turner there, he's just holding on, just hold on. Hold on, they're reaching out there. Sometimes you just have to bring them down any way you can. But look at the number of white shirts to the ball. They have got to make stops. Get good field position for their offense, and this is one of the series that they talk about. 3rd down and 8. 5-step drop for Campbell. Fires over the middle. Pass batted in the air and falls incomplete. That'll bring up 4th down. So LSU comes out of the locker room and pins Auburn back in their own territory, and now the Tigers will have to punt it away, and they'll need the SEC's leader in punting to really get a good one here, or LSU could be in exceptional field position. Well, on 2 things. First of all, I think about with LSU, they're going to get great field position. But then for Auburn, you got Duval back there who can flat out hit that thing like a rock.
And they've also got, returning does LSU, the best in the business. It's a great kick by Duval. Dominic Davis breaks a couple of tackles, but good coverage by Auburn. Brandon Johnson brings him down. 58-yard punt, a 9-yard return. Well, here's what LSU has lost over the last month. Louisiana Lafayette was the game that cost Brandon Toefield his season. Well, he can still come back down the stretch. And Matt Mock, certainly a guy that they could use at quarterback, was getting better every week, and that's what they're missing. But Davis has been more than adequate. I mean, he has been all SEC caliber. And how about the big hit coming out of that secondary by Carlos Rogers, a flag down. Joseph Adai never even got started toward the line of scrimmage.
Well, it started with Dansby, who made a great play, and then Rogers came from the outside and just stuck him. Again, watch Dansby come in here, make the quarterback pitch. Right there, you make him toss, and then look at that stick. Carlos Rogers, and he hits a die about 4 yards deep in the backfield.
This is not the same Auburn team.
On the offense, 15 yards in the previous spot. Replay first down.
Not what you need when you're trying to score some points. To come out of the locker room, your defense has a good defensive stand. The offense needs to get it going. I mean, that's just the bottom line right now.
And you're absolutely right. Auburn is just playing with such emotion.
On 1st and 25. Pass is caught. Gets back to the original line of scrimmage. That's Myers, the senior out of Houston. Travaris Robinson runs him out of bounds.
Well, what I would do with Marcus Randall is use just that little waggle like they just did there. Get him out of trouble. Let him get outside the pressure. Let him use his feet a little bit. They've got to get some consistency where they move the chains.
Second down and 11. Randall overthrows. His intended target, the tight end, Eric Edwards, by about 2 yards. Mark Brown was running with Edwards, but I think Randall just threw it a little too hard.
I wondered when he sat back, David, the ball's a little bit wet. We talked about the rain here that continues to fall. I'm wondering if that slipped a little bit in his hand.
6 defensive backs on the field for Auburn on 3rd and 11. LSU 2 of 7 on 3rd down conversions. Randall low and behind his receiver Myers. Fourth down. Here comes Donnie Jones and the LSU punt team.
When this crowd is staying in this football game because they're seeing an Auburn team that is just responding and playing well. They're just shutting off LSU where they do it, what they do best at. They're coming after them. At that time we saw 6 defensive backs. That's called a dime. So you can't get any more than that. They are really playing with emotion.
Jones on 3 punts, averaging 43 per kick. Wobbler. That'll be taken by Marcel Willis. Willis bounces off a couple of players to the 35. Pretty good field position for Auburn coming up. A 36-yard punt, a 10-yard return. We've got 12:16 to go in the 3rd quarter. Auburn still leading by 17. It might be a little wet at Jordan-Hare Stadium today with the rain falling for the last couple of hours, but not too bad, not too much to dampen the spirits. I tell you, these games in the SEC, Dave, this year, we talk about the league maybe not as people around the country talk about the league maybe not as strong as it's been. I disagree. I think that every Saturday in this conference, you're going to have a whale of a football game.
As evidenced by this one. A team coming out that's lost 2, just having a season so cold in the shambles, and then coming back. Oh,
Aroma Shadu with a big catch down inside the 15. He just beat the cornerback, Corey Webster, for the football.
Under pressure, Jason Campbell gets a little bit of time to look down. Now he's got some pressure, throws the ball and gets rid of it. But what a catch by Aroma Shadu. Uses that body, that great leaping ability. He goes right up over top of Corey Webster. Again, uses that body, goes up high, good concentration, looked the ball in, big results.
And they went right after Webster on that play, which picked up 48 yards. And remember, Webster in the starting lineup because Damian James, not with the team, suspended indefinitely. Here's Brown trying to get the corner. Does so, but he steps out of bounds at the 10. Norman Lejeune with good speed forced him.
Lejeune just makes a dart on this line, and that's exactly what you have to do. You have to come down that line, and he does force him to get the outside. Watch that left foot right there. You saw it touch on the line. He was out of bounds, but great hustle by the strong safety, Norman Lejeune.
Auburn in the second half been pretty impressive in terms of outscoring their opponents. Have a chance to really do something here to hurt LSU's confidence as Brown takes it up near the 1st down marker. We'll see if that's good enough to move the chains. That may be about a yard shy, half yard shy. Yeah, it'll be 3rd down coming up.
And again, I just go back to the fact that they're running at the strength of LSU. That inside, Grady James, that great middle linebacker, they just run straight out of picking up yardage. Their offensive line rolling off the football.
3 tight ends in the football game, and the handoff goes to Brown. 1st down inside the 5. Power football.
I was just going to say, you talk about delivering a football blow. Ronnie Brown just comes off the football really hard, but watch the line play at the point of attack. See, he sees the seam to the backside, then he just puts his shoulder down, and you know who he's running over? Grady James, number 11.
Wow. Auburn's 1st down success has been pretty good. They're averaging 7.5 per play on 1st down. They have it 1st and goal from the 4. Little play action. Campbell keeps it. Fires. Touchdown to Robert Johnson. And Jason Campbell sold the play fake. Johnson with his 1st touchdown reception of the year.
It's called play action because it simulates a run right there. You see everybody fights on it. Now look, he's got 2 opportunities. He finds Robert Johnson. Nobody even close to Robert Johnson.
Here's Philip Yost for the point after. It is through, and Auburn's lead is 24-0. Will Muschamp, the defensive coordinator, in disbelief like a lot of people. Jason Campbell with the touchdown pass to Robert Johnson. Campbell now 6 of 9 for 90. I think the Auburn fans realized they could be back in the SEC West race. They are loud as Duval kicks off, and Damon Duval has had some tremendous kickoffs today, and he's kept Dominic Davis from being as dangerous as he has been all season long. Marcus Ramble in his second start, first on the road in the SEC, taking some lumps today.
Well, he's made some good decisions. He's pulled the ball down. He's not forced it. He's used that roll and then made a good decision, again, to run the ball, don't force it into trouble, and then he's passed with accuracy. Whereas it's been terrible half for for Marcus Randall. It's been a great half for Jason Campbell.
See what Randall does here. Fumbles a football. Thomas was the last man on the spot. Ratliff the first man there. That could have been turnover number 5.
That was awfully close. You've got to put the football away, and it's terrible. He wanted to pull the ball out, and that's miscommunication with your running back. He thinks he's missing. He thinks he's fumbling the ball, and he grabs it.
A loss of 6. 4 receivers. Randall keeps it. Little quarterback draw. Gets it out to the 24-yard line. Jay Ratliff with another tackle for Auburn. That's 6 for the sophomore out of Valdosta, Georgia. Also forced a fumble today.
If I'm Auburn's defense, I'm happy with the quarterback run like that. Takes up time, keeps the clock going. Not going to make a first down, brings up third down, 7 or 8 yards. Now you get your tail up, you come after them. Watch the big boys up front. They know it's a pass down.
6 DBs for Auburn. Randall out of the shotgun. Fires. Pass is incomplete at the 32. It would have been good enough for a first down, but Myers couldn't hold on to it. Coverage by Carlos Rogers. Tommy Tuberville loving it. It's been a tough week on the campus here at Auburn, but this will make things seem a little bit easier and a little bit nicer.
You get those fans involved in this football game. Everybody talks about how loud this place is.
Okay, now we got
it. It is incredible. And everybody's standing.
29.
Jones. Willis bouncing around. $39-yard punt, a 7-yard return. Well, our Chick-fil-A nugget of the game looks like this. The NCAA has announced their scholar athletes of Division 1A. And how about this? Out of Division 1A, there are a total of 6 players, 3 of them, half of them coming out of the Southeastern Conference. Hunter Hillenmeyer, Brady James, and John Stinchcomb. We tip our hats to those guys for averaging a 3.74 or better. Could have added up all my GPAs and wouldn't have gotten that far. Ronnie Brown. That'll be a first down. Randall Gay. Brady James, one of those guys that's on that list with the major in criminology, came back to LSU because he wanted to be a part of something special, wanted to finish what he started, and wanted to go out with the guys he came in with. And this team, despite what's happened here at 24-0, and still plenty of time left for LSU, but it's running out. He's really an inspiration to a lot of people, not just on this football team. Brown gets a couple on the plate. You love Brady James. You love the way he plays the game.
Oh, you know I do. When we were talking with him, he said, you know, I don't talk a whole lot. I try to motivate my players. But he said, this is something I called everybody and told them about. He said, hey, I'm really proud of it. And he should be. Great kid. I mean, I loved it when we met with him a few weeks back, and then to have him on the phone interview, talk with him. He just plays the game with emotion, plays at full speed all the time.
He lost both his parents a couple of years ago and has had to overcome a great deal, and really has a special bond with his head coach, Nick Saban. Here's Trey Smith, the little guy. They list him at 5'10", 190. I have my doubts. I do know this. He's talented, and certainly as soon as he stepped on this campus, coaches loved what he could do.
Yeah, he makes good cuts, holds on to that football, guards it well. What Auburn needs to do right now is, again, just keep that change going, move, keep the clock going, be conservative, don't make mistakes, don't make foolish, just don't force the ball into trouble.
Here's Brown. Brown to the 30, Brown to the 25, Brown to the 20. It knocks over about 4 people in the process.
Great block by the fullback, Brandon Johnson, number 45. He turns Lionel Turner inside. Right in there. You see him getting right there. Now that opens up the outside for Ronnie Brown. The only thing he did wrong, perhaps, was go out of bounds. Maybe he should have stayed in bounds, but Auburn controlling the edges, controlling the corners.
Ronnie Brown will be the center of a lot of defensive coordinators' discussions the remainder of the season with Cadillac Williams out. Nice play. Good penetration from Byron Dawson out of that tackle spot, the senior out of Shreveport, Louisiana.
I thought Dawson was going to take the handoff. Look at him right up through the middle. I mean, he's in the backfield. He's in Ronnie Brown's face before he gets to the football.
Brandon Johnson just like avoided him. He's like, I'm not going to hit that big guy. Second down, 15. Clock ticks. Close in on 7 minutes to go in the third quarter. Brown and Smith in the backfield. Smith comes to the near side in motion. Campbell will throw. Campbell throws behind his receiver, intended for Silas Daniels, who's playing with a pulled groin. Missed last week's game, but he out there today, gutting it out. You know, that was the ball, by the way, that Coach was telling us that Jason Campbell throws the best. That ball over the middle. He seems to lead the guys, keeps it in the right height off the ground, not too high, not too low. They wanted to work on his out pass a little bit.
Exactly. He throws very well inside the box. Tackle to tackle. He throws well over the middle. But that may be, Dave, because he's 6'4". He's got great release, high release.
Nickel package in for LSU on a 3rd down and 15. Campbell thought he saw some room. Not as much as he anticipated. Gets it inside the 20 down to the 18. Brady James with his 6th stop this afternoon. And that'll bring up a 4th down. Bobby Petrino has put himself in some good spots today, the offensive coordinator. For more on Bobby, let's check in with Buzz.
Dave, you guys were just talking about where you put the football so people can throw it effectively. One thing that Petrino had done is he had charted all of Campbell's throws up to this point this year, knows that he throws the ball better down the field, and believes he can give Auburn a better chance to stretch the field than could Daniel Cobb.
Good point, Buzz. As Yost comes in on a 34-yard field goal attempt, timeout taken by Auburn. And the delay, I think, in trying to decide, do you go for it or not? I think Auburn burned up too much time and had to use a timeout. So Nick Saban looking for some answers. Down 24-0. A block here would be good if you're a LSU fan.
Well, they need big plays, and Nick Saban knows it. They've got to have something big happen.
We'll return after a word from your local stations. 10th ranked LSU at home, 24-0, 6:04 to go in the third quarter. Just a shocking afternoon, really, the way things have gone the past couple of weeks. But Philip Yost, after the timeout by Auburn, will attempt the 34-yard field goal. Yost 1 of 2 today in his debut as Auburn's field goal kicker. Snap is good. The hold is down. The kick is up, and That may be to the right, and it is. No good. So Auburn's kicking woes continue. Yost misses from 46 and 34. The Opelika, Alabama native, getting some encouragement from his head coach.
Yeah, he just pushed the ball. Good position, good hold. You can see he just pushed the ball. You see him looking off to the right. He's trying to make it in good. You can tell for Tommy Tuberville, it's got to be a, oh boy, not another one. Not another one.
Hard for him to watch. So first down and 10 for LSU. They need something in a hurry. Randall dives out to the 25-yard line. Jay Ratliff tripped him up. LSU on first down today. That kind of number is something the defensive coordinators love to see. Yeah. Second and long, third and long, and you know, on the flip side of that, Auburn's had some good success on first down.
That's when you can lay your ears back when you're only picking up less than 3 yards on first down. But right now, they need to go to their wideouts. You've got to find wideouts. Quarterback draws are not going to get it.
Davis gets a couple. That'll bring up third down. DJ Jackson on the stop for Auburn. Buzz, what do you got down there?
You know, Dave, the bad thing for LSU in this situation, they've got to play catch-up. They gave it to Dominic Davis right there, but that's really to keep the defense honest. You've got a quarterback that's had so many picks this afternoon. Jimbo Fisher said that he had to be patient and put his quarterback in spots where he can succeed, and that's just awfully tough with the kind of afternoon he's had and the kind of hole they're in right now.
There's Jimbo. Randall out near the 41st down. LSU moved the chains.
And it was a good decision by Randall to run the football that time. They had a lot of pressure. Auburn came with a blitz on the weak side and forced him. Fortunately for him, the run was away. Look at the top of your screen. You see the blitz coming from the right side. Again, good decision there. Bring the football down. But again, you've got to move the clocks down. You're down by a ton. You've got to get touchdowns.
Randall tore up his knee in the spring as he was battling Matt Mogg for the starting job. Nice little play fake, buys some time, goes deep, looking for his receiver. Henderson bounces off at the 20-yard line. Henderson was in one-on-one coverage with Horace Willis. That could have been a big play.
That was expected to be a big play. Good play fake right here. Now come square up and look downfield. Find Henderson. He's on a dart. He had good separation. The ball wobbled a little bit and lost a little bit of his trajectory, but he actually could have had that, probably should have had that.
Yeah, you go back and ask Henderson, and he'll say, yeah, should have had it. Yep. Henderson, the former running back and speedster, who's on that LSU track team. 4 receivers in the game on second down and 10. Here's a little screen. There's a lot of daylight for Dominic Davis. Davis bounces off a couple of players. A flag is down, and another flag comes in, and that could be a little late hit on Auburn.
There's a flag.
LSU can't catch a break.
Well, holding call, and right there, you see 73, that's right there, that's Sale, right there, number 73. He holds him. Can't do that. You got to let go of him. He's around the block. You see the flag come right in there. And then there's the late hit. That's Mark Brown. Can't hit him out of bounds.
Mark Brown's been hitting everything that moves today. This guy came out here today like this was his last football game ever.
Gives the offense a run. A 10-yard penalty out of the foul. And a dead ball, personal foul, late hit. That'll be 15 yards, automatic first out.
So LSU does, in retrospect, get a break. They pick up the first down. The ball will be moved out to the 46-yard line. They could have been inside Auburn territory.
You know, I go back, I mean, you're throwing a screen pass to Dominic Davis. Now, I know he has great talent, but I just think you have to go downfield. You've got to get somebody open. You've got to get the ball out to the wideouts.
LSU has run 43 plays. They've accumulated 140 yards. They came into the game averaging about 360 a game, and they were second in the league in scoring, averaging 33 points a game. Randall has time. Going deep again down the field. Passes through the hands again of Henderson. Randall's just underthrowing these receivers. I mean, you're talking about Henderson, Dave, a guy who's got track speed. Vinny Brazil's another guy, 17, who's also an All-American track star. Let him run to it.
Exactly. But you know what's interesting? You see the trajectory of the ball. On the pattern, the ball is wobbly. It's not a clean spiral. You can see, as you say, he's waiting for it, having to go up for it. And you got to give a little bit of credit to the defensive coverage. Good coverage in there. Hood on that one-on-one. Sure, it was underthrown, but he played it well.
4 receivers again. Second down and 10. Here's a little play fake, and Randall will keep it. Randall stiff arms an Auburn defender. He gets into Auburn territory at the 48-yard line. Horace Willis ran him out of bounds.
And Dave, it's fun to be in a defensive huddle when you've got a lead and you've got a quarterback that doesn't have confidence. Because what you tell your defensive linemen is go get him. You tell your safeties and your corners, you say, hey, don't get beat deep. Let them throw that ball underneath. Make them run with the football. Bring it down.
Third and 4. LSU 3 for 10 today. Dime package, 6 DBs in the game for Auburn. Razzle-dazzle from LSU. Here's Henderson. And that'll be a first down inside the 35. DeMarco McNeil finally catches him. But obviously LSU trying to get the ball into Henderson's hands right now.
Oh, he's got great speed. Misdirection. He comes across underneath shuttle. Now he breaks a couple tackles right in there, makes a couple miss. That's a good play, good run there. Keep those feet down. Drive, get positive yardage. That you can build on, Jimbo Fisher.
Trying to find the playmakers. There's Gene Chizik, the defensive coordinator, matching wits with Jimbo. Here's the option. Stuffed at the line of scrimmage. Thomas played it well and maybe lost a couple. Dontarius Thomas with a bad knee, coming off a great game at Florida with a dozen tackles and a sack.
Dave, there's nowhere to go on the play. You see the adjustment. Now watch when he comes down the line right in here. Now right in here, there's nothing outside there. That's clogged up. But look back inside. You've got big men coming in there just making a tackle. Dontarius Thomas, 54, is playing that backside. And boy, they got to be excited on defense. Look at him.
10th play of the drive coming up. The drive's only amassed 44 yards. Second down and 12. Davis. It's 5 or 6 on the play. Dansby makes the stop. Pizza Hut scoreboard on a big afternoon. UConn in Nashville. Arkansas over Ole Miss 10-2. In the first, of course, we'll have Ole Miss next week. Miami in a dogfight. Notre Dame. Florida State came in as a 10-point favorite. It's about time America woke up and said the Irish were for real.
Yeah, that's right.
Wake Forest blanking North Carolina. Maryland over Duke. That's our Pizza Hut scoreboard. Current drive is 10 plays, 51 yards.
And look at the time ticking off. 3 minutes and 45 seconds. When you're down 24 points, you've got to score faster than that.
Randall inside the 25 to see where the spot is. He had to get just on the other side of the 24-yard line. That's going to be close to that first down. 4th and a yard. LSU has no other option but to go for it.
Gotta go for it, and I think it's give it to one of the big guys right up the middle. Get behind those linemen, those big linemen in the middle. See if you can blow them off the line for a yard. If you can't make a yard, you don't deserve it.
LSU 6 of 11 on 4th downs this year. Davis. He picked up possibly the first down with his momentum. Looks as though he got it. Graves and Robinson converge on the tackle.
Not a big hole right here. He got behind Peterman and Whitworth and just drove in there. You see him just kind of rumbling through there. Dominic Davis, he can make 2 or 3 yards on his own, but he needed to make him on his own. There's no seam there.
He got the first down. Good power running from Dominic Davis. I formation. Under a minute to go in the 3rd quarter. 1st and 10. Here's a little flip to Michael Clayton. Clayton being chased, but picks up about 4 yards on the play. Dontarius Thomas ran him out of bounds.
Well, it's always misdirection. They're trying to fool him, trying to do a reverse. But Auburn doesn't get fooled on the play. They have good backside coverage. Robinson almost runs him down there. But if I'm a defense, I'll let you do that all day long because that takes time off the clock. It's not a quick strike.
Clock stops as Clayton gets out of bounds with 46 seconds to go before the end of the 3rd quarter. Dansby at the 20 drags down Marcus Randall.
Well, Dansby fights off a block well. He's blocked. You see number 11. Look at him fight off. And that's what you have to do. Use those hands. Use that leverage, and that's what Dansby does well.
Dansby coming off a game where he had a career-high 14 tackles against the Gators last weekend down in Gainesville. He has 10 tackles for loss to lead this team, 4 sacks, 16 quarterback pressures, and picked up an INT today that'll be on a lot of highlight reels. And that'll do it for the 3rd quarter as the clock expires. It's 24-0 as Auburn has put a hurting on LSU to this point. We've got 15 more minutes of football from the Plains. Afternoon in Auburn, but I tell you what, the crowd today, Dave, they came out to play as much as this football team. They've been a big factor in how Auburn's performed.
Absolutely, Dave. They've been a huge factor. They've been screaming, yelling. We talked about the noise element in here. I'll tell you, this place is rocking. Rain didn't keep anybody away.
It's 3rd down and 7. LSU has yet to enter the Auburn red zone today. They're knocking on the door. They came in first in the conference in red zone scoring at 88%, and here's an all-out blitz. Randall backpedaling, fires, picked off by Carlos Dansby, his 2nd of the game. The former wideout on his way and tripped up at the 20-yard line. Oh, my!
Pressure on the play by Ratliff. He gets outside. He gets pressure on the quarterback. I thought they were going to run the screen, and look at Dansby playing the eyes of Michael Clayton. Clayton never gives up, though, on the run. He stays with it. What about Dansby? Well, you talk about speed. Look at that. Speed against speed.
Butler with the carry down to the 20-yard line. Dansby with 2 interceptions today. Our Gatorade stats through 3 quarters. Time of possession has favored LSU, but they just have not been able to put it all together. It has been a tough day, and the turnovers have been devastating. 118 yards. It's a happy day in Auburn if you're an Auburn Tiger fan. 24-0, 14:06 to go. This matchup has been wild over the years, so I'm not counting anything out. We've seen it all, but right now Auburn looks like they're in pretty good control after creating 5 LSU turnovers. Here's 2nd and 8 for Auburn and Jason Campbell. Handoff goes to Butler, gets a couple of yards down to the 18.
Dave, that was an interesting timeout. When they brought Jason Campbell over the sideline, I'm sure they said, listen, don't make a mistake. Don't try to force that ball in. Take what they give you. The clock is in their favor. The score is in their favor. And he was pretty confident when we talked to him yesterday. And Tommy Tuberville certainly has got his attention.
It's amazing the comparisons between these clubs. Campbell wasn't a starter. Daniel Cobb was. Matt Malk was the starter at LSU. Then here comes Marcus Randall. They both lose their star tailbacks. Comparisons. Here's some pressure. Gay gets popped by Butler, giving Jason Campbell some room to get down to the 10, where he gets hit by Brady James. But Gay was flying right at Campbell, and just got nicked up as Cobb cheers on his cohort at quarterback.
You want to see how close it is to getting a tackle? Just get pinged off. But what a tough kid coming in there, putting that football down, making good decisions. And that's a safe play. That's one of those safe plays. If it's not there, don't force the ball.
1st and goal from the 9. Couple of tight ends. Setback is Butler. Butler stood up, loses a couple. That didn't work. Jeremy Lawrence came flying in there to disrupt that play.
Boy, Lawrence was in the backfield. Here comes Butler. He's going to see Lawrence just pop into the backfield. Good explosion in there. Again, driving back, get some help. See number 11 in there. He's in there a bunch.
That was a loss of 3 on the play. It'll be 2nd down and goal from the 12 now. Butler, the 215-pound junior out of Hoover, Alabama. They've worked Brown, Butler, and Smith at that running back spot. Johnson, the fullback right now. And Robert Johnson, tight end in motion. Here's a little option. Campbell. Oh, lot of white and gold chasing Jason Campbell. That play had no chance.
That's the one where you just want to find the ground. Get down. If you're a quarterback, you're surrounded. Just get down. Jeremy Lawrence is going to make the tackle, but watch this. When he cuts back right in here, look at the pursuit. That's what you want that backside to do. Get your lineman, just surround him. Now, if you're Jason Campbell, get to the ground. Don't get hurt.
Well, you had 1st and goal at the 9. Now you're looking at 3rd and goal from the 20.
But again, I say don't force the ball. Don't make a mistake. If it's there, take it. If it's not, hey, settle for a field goal try.
The rain continues to fall, as it has since kickoff. 4 receivers in the game. Here comes some pressure. The handoff goes to Ronnie Brown. He has daylight, and he will score. The Auburn Tigers have gotten themselves back in the SEC West race.
This is an all-out blitz. When you get an all-out blitz, you can't miss. Randall Gaynor, number 21, he's got him in the hole. He misses. There's the result. How about Daniel Cobb? Tough week for him. A lot of spirit from him.
Going after up and good. That's 2 touchdowns today for Mr. Ronnie Brown. His 5th and 6th of the season. Tommy Tuberville worked his magic this week. Jason Campbell and company have been pretty good today, to say the least. They lead 31-0. 31-0. Unranked Auburn over 10th ranked LSU. Shocking. Just absolutely shocking. Turnovers have been the biggest story in this game, and that's what's shocking more than anything. LSU had turned it over only 11 times in 7 games, but today they've turned it over 5. Dominic Davis. That's the kind of day it's been. A guy who's had a good day is down the sidelines, Buzz.
Dave, you know, there are so many D1 athletes that want that immediate gratification. And what a story Ronnie Brown has been. When we were here in week 3, he fumbled on the 3-yard line against Vandy. Up until last week when Cadillac Williams was injured because of that fumble, he'd only gotten 5 carries. Rather than getting discouraged, he kept working, waited for his chance. Boy, has he made the most of it. And speaking of Cadillac, we understand he's having a little tough time with that injury. Hopefully this kind of performance by his Tigers is helping him feel a little better back in his Auburn apartment this afternoon.
Ronnie Brown all smiles. Luke Cadillac does well in his rehabilitation. Randall gets hit as he lets it go, and a flag goes down. Brett Edmonds, the sophomore, hit Randall. Kind of, I guess, maybe he just continued on when he could have let go. Maybe that's the call.
Yeah,
Looked like he was there.
I think what you're going to see is a late hit. When that quarterback gets rid of the football, can't take him to the ground. Can't hit him. But we'll find out for sure in a second.
Man, oh man, what a performance today by this Auburn defense. This was a maligned Auburn defense.
Roughing the pass by the defense. 15-yard penalty. First half.
It was a maligned Auburn defense that really found themselves when their backs against the wall in the second half last week against Florida. They really turned it up. Well, the announcers for this game are selected and compensated by Jefferson Pilot Sports. This broadcast is a copyright presentation. Any use of this broadcast without the express permission of the Southeastern Conference and Jefferson Pilot Sports is prohibited. Dave Neal, Dave Rowe, Dave Baker, glad you could join us. 1st and 10 for LSU after the roughing the passer penalty. LSU's offense 176 yards today. A dive bounces off Roderick Hood. Junior Rosegreen finally brings him down. But to me, it's like Auburn found something in Gainesville. They lost the game. They should have won the game. A 23-yard field goal is normally a chip shot for your All-American. But it's like they found something down there.
Well, I think they found something, but I think 2 weeks ago, they got so wounded in that game against Arkansas. They got ran on for over 400 yards. I mean, it was a total embarrassment. And what they did is they just collectively got together, and they got some players out there today.
4 receivers. The handoff goes to Adai. Look at Joseph Adai go. Adai out to the 42-yard line of Auburn. Rogers and Robinson. Adai just kept churning, kept his feet moving.
That's exactly what he did. He was going to run strong side. He makes a good cut back against the grain, finds a little seam, keeps those feet. You want to keep those feet scooting along there. Break tackles, put your head down. It may be a little bit too late.
Adai.
Sorry for them to run the football, Dave.
Adai. Those are his season numbers. Today, 7 carries for 34 yards. 1st and 10. Randall hands it off to Adai. This time Adai kept the feet moving, but the body couldn't follow. Next week we will be in Oxford, Mississippi, as the Auburn Tigers and the Ole Miss Rebels will square off at Vaught-Hemingway Stadium, 12:30 Eastern, 11:30 Central. And Ole Miss at Arkansas this afternoon. That game could have big implications in the SEC West race. 6 defensive backs, shotgun formation for Randall. 4 wideouts. Randall fires. Myers makes the catch at the 23-yard line. 1st down LSU. Rashad Walker on the coverage.
Now that's a wide out. That's a wide out that can catch the football. Watch Myers come off the line. Good out cut. Get separation now. Look that ball in. It's kind of thrown behind him, but good receivers make those kind of catches. That's the first pass I've seen to a wide out in a long while.
Well, the 21-yard pickup was their longest gain of the afternoon. It's 1st and 10. LSU has yet to crack the Auburn red zone. They're a couple of yards away. The last time they were this close, Dansby picked it off. Randall keeps it. He runs with it to the 15, to the 10, and stopped right there. 1st down LSU. Hard running by Marcus Randall, and he picks up 12 in the process.
And it's a good decision. It's a safe play. It's inside the red zone. He's going to come strong side now. He looks out here now. This is ad lib. Pick up a couple blockers, look for a seam. Don't fumble that football. Put that other hand on, and that's exactly what he did in there. He's just got to get his confidence back.
LSU, Dave, is tied the school record with 70 straight games without being shut out. A score here sets a new LSU record. A dive to the 7, stop there. And it's a tough spot. They're first and goal at the 10.
Yeah, if you're defense, you like that. But I'll tell you this, there's going to be no give up over there on the Auburn side of the football. Nick Saban, he wants a score. You know that. But on the defensive side of the football, I can tell you, I've been in that situation. It's, hey, yeah, we're up 31-0, but don't let them score.
One of LSU's better drives this afternoon. 6 plays, 73 yards. They've had a lot of 8, 9, 10-play drives that have only amassed 44 to 54 yards. So they're not getting a lot per play. A dive, a race to the end zone, and he gets there. He just powered his way past Dontarius Thomas and puts LSU on the board. It's his 3rd rushing TD of the year.
And it was a good play selection. It's misdirection. Everything's going to the left, and the dive just takes the ball out to the outside. Now watch the contact with Thomas. Right in there. Boy, look at that. Just, man, you talk about powering yourself in. He runs through Dontarius Thomas.
I tell you what, I like Joseph Adai. He's just a redshirt freshman out of Houston, Texas. Point after up and good. LSU now trails 31-7. Joseph Adai worked hard on that drive, and the result was a touchdown for LSU, but Auburn still in control here in the 4th quarter. People around the country might be a little surprised at that score, 31-7. We knew we'd probably have a good football game today, but the turnovers have hurt LSU. They just take it in for 7, and now we'll kick off to Auburn with 7:18 to play in the football game. Auburn looking for an onside kick. And it's a pooch. Taken at the 35-yard line by Jarris McIntyre. But Auburn's put up 31 points, and without their big gun. Carnell Cadillac Williams, of course, got hurt against Florida last week, and these are his numbers. This is what they're missing the rest of the year. You know, a guy who carried it 40 times against Syracuse, averages 20 carries per game. 5.3 yards per carry, and he's done. We wish him the best. But Ronnie Brown is a guy that, as Buzz was saying, waited patiently, didn't say much, and has his opportunity, and closing in on another 100-yard game with 18 carries, 95 yards, and he averages per carry the same as Cadillac. Butler in to get the handoff. And Butler a little bit slow to get up. Oh man, Auburn cannot afford any more in, much like LSU. Just, you know, as you look at the Tiger defense and what they have done coming into this game, and you know, they still haven't given up a ton of yards.
Oh, well, they've been put in horrible field position. Yeah. I mean, turnover. You're not driving the ball 30, 40 yards.
Turnover. Forgot those other two.
That's right. Exactly right. Golly, I mean, who would have thought it? I mean, you've got a Dominic Davis. You've got a ground game that dominates.
Well, they couldn't run. I mean, they were Auburn, and to Auburn's credit, they forced LSU to start throwing the football. But here's that injury.
You might say what happened to Butler on that play. He just rolled over, let the ball go, and then just kind of laid there.
I don't know. That's
I didn't see that.
You know, in talking to the coaches the past couple of weeks, we're at the point in the season where teams are banged up. It's across the board, and we've seen some very serious injuries. But you get the Knicks as well. But coaches say with the 85 scholarship limit, you're trying to redshirt as many guys as you can. You know, you may have a backup, but after that, you don't have much. So these teams, both these teams, in the same spot where they can't afford many more injuries. Vanderbilt and homecoming. Just got an update on that game. It's now 17-5. Razorbacks over the Rebels. Miami now pulling away from West Virginia. And how many times am I going to see my Knowles go down this year? I'm getting hurt. Getting hurt this
You're wounded.
year. Virginia Tech over Temple in third quarter. Wow, that's a shocker. Only a touchdown. Maryland all over Duke in the third quarter. Coming up later on today, a big one. Georgia at Kentucky. That's getting started in about 25 minutes. How about NC State on Thursday night? What a show they put on.
I think they took a lot of the doubters away.
Yes.
Everybody said they may be the luckiest team in the top 10.
No.
Wow. Played very well.
This is Trey Smith. Look at Trey stay low to the ground. He's only about a foot off the ground the way he runs. There are 3 missed tackles on that play. And the Jefferson Pilot Sports crew is on the road covering SEC football. We like to eat at Huddle House and always enjoy their big house breakfast and lunch platters. Smith 4 carries, 29 yards. The little man, see, you can barely see him. That's why the defense has trouble. He's a guy that rushed for 336 yards in one high school game in Venice, Florida. On 3rd and 4, he's the single setback. Campbell will throw, though. Campbell, nice throw. That'll be a first down. Boy, that's a great pitch and catch. McIntyre with the reception. Gay on the coverage.
And the flag on the play, even though he caught the football, but good look in. I was surprised when he threw this football. But look at that. Good hands. I love the hands on that. You reach out there when it hits your hands, and McIntyre pulls them in.
That'll go against LSU. It'll be declined. That'll be a first down. Football fans, register to win $1 million in the Bell South $1 Million Kick Contest. Visit jpsports.com to register and check out the schedule for the Bell South E-Zone rolling onto your college campus around the South. Sign up and then start practicing your field goals. The grand prize winner gets a chance to kick for $1 million at the 2002 Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl, which will be played on New Year's Eve. Keep reading that $1 million. Just give me a fraction.
Yeah, now that you're married, you need to know.
Yes, I need more than that. If you knew my wife.
Number 22, Trey Smith.
Trey Smith. It's 2.5, maybe 3 on the carry. Lawrence on the stop. Auburn has run today. I interrupt Dave. Rushed the ball 38 times. They've thrown it 11. And in one of those rushes, they lost Mr. Chris Butler, the junior out of Hoover, Alabama. Buzz, what's the story with Chris?
Pulled groin, obviously pulled pretty severely for him to wheel him into the locker room. They'll get in and start work on him right away and just see how bad the damage is. But pulled groin, he's done for the day.
Those hopefully it's not too bad. That's one of those injuries that takes a long time to fully heal. I formation. 2nd down 7. Trey Smith inside the 45 to the 44. Trey Smith, I love watching him run. You know, he was such a tremendous high school back, Dave, that a lot of coaches that recruited him wanted to move him to the secondary. They didn't think he was big enough to be a Division 1A tailback. And he's like, heck no, man, I'm a tailback. I can play it. I want to prove that I can play in this league. And Auburn said, we'll make you a tailback. So he signed here.
And he's getting a lot of use. And with the injury to Butler, he moves up to the 2nd spot behind Ronnie Brown. And that puts a lot more pressure on him. But I like him. He runs tough in there. He runs hard, doesn't make mistakes, finds that little seam, and look at that. Picks up yardage.
Dove for the first down. The Florida Class 6A Player of the Year as a junior. This is a perfect example, Dave, of why the Southeastern Conference and Ronnie Brown rooting him on as well. Ronnie's day looks like it's pretty much done, but how about this? LSU, 10th ranked team in the country, goes on the road to Auburn, and Auburn really does a number on it. This is why this league this year is good. And I don't care what people say. This is a tough league top to bottom this year. Smith, nothing there. And maybe the guard's changing in the league, Dave. Just because Tennessee and Florida aren't in the top 5 doesn't mean that somebody like Georgia or LSU can't be the 2 teams that look like that for the next 10 years.
And then look at the teams that are moving up. How about the Kentuckys? I mean, they're moving up playing great football.
There's the Eastern Division standings. Georgia in control. Of course, they'll have Florida just on the horizon, but a big test today against Kentucky, who's ineligible for the SEC championship due to probation. Vanderbilt is struggling, but they're headed in the right direction. I think that, I don't know if they'll ever compete for the title, but they'll certainly cause some problems for our folks for the next few years. Smith. It's 3 or 4.
Yeah, and safe 3 or 4. Run in there, control the ball. And you're in that huddle. You turn around and say, hey, don't fumble. Those big linemen, they love it right now. If you're an offensive lineman, you get up there, you roll off that foot, you rumble in there. If you're an LSU defensive lineman, you're hurting. And Nick Saban knows it right now. His team is dejected. They came in here with, they're the best defense in the nation.
But you lose Damian James all week. You don't hear from a guy for a few days. Nobody knows what's going on. It's got to be a distraction. Sure. I don't care what you say. That hurts to lose Damian James. I think old Trey Smith may spend some time in the training room after the day with all the carries. But here's LSU's schedule, and rest assured of this, folks, that LSU will bounce back from this. This is a hiccup in their road back to Atlanta. They'll have a Kentucky date, then an Alabama. I mean, what a tough road down the stretch.
And Auburn, they have a schedule too. They have to go to Ole Miss, Louisiana Monroe, Georgia, and Alabama. Boy, those are 2 tough games at the end of the season. But if you can build off of this one, they could maybe roll into those last 2.
You don't think Auburn's looking forward to that date with Alabama at the end of the year after what happened in this place a year ago. Trey Smith still on his feet. Trey Smith down to the 2. Brought down by Corey Webster, who saved a touchdown with 1 minute and 7 seconds left to play. A gain of 35.
This is just stunning. This is keeping your balance. This is breaking tackles. He runs right through Randall Gay. He's got him. Look, puts his hand down. Gets that balance back. You talked about him being in the training room. And look at that at the tail end. He feels them trying to rip the ball out.
One arm by Corey Webster spun Trey Smith around.
Well, I'll tell you one thing. You talk about, losing the cattle.
Well, Dave, you hear the Boo Birds. And this is, I think the Auburn fans are a little bitter about things that occurred last year in Baton Rouge. And Tommy Tuberville's going to take a knee and run out the clock.
That's good gesture.
But absolutely, I tip my cap to Tommy Tuberville. That is a nice gesture on his part. And to tell you something, Nick Saban knows it.
Sure. Look at Trey Smith's numbers. What a day for him. I mean, he's 3rd team. He's behind Butler, who's behind Ronnie Brown. Butler goes down, and Trey Smith gets a lot of carries.
Tough day for that man, Nick Saban, but folks, he's one of the best in the business. We'll get this team ready to go. But Tommy Tuberville had his team. I don't know what he said before the game, but he needs to bottle that up. This defense was awesome today. The 86,000 on hand showed their support despite a 2-game skid and really helped this team out. For more on the Auburn Tigers and the win, let's check in with Dave Baker.
Thanks, Dave. Tommy, after what happened here 2 weeks ago and the way it got away last week, I don't think there's anybody outside the Tuberville household that might have thought this would have happened the way it did today.
2 different football teams, and we came ready to play 2 weeks ago. They just hit a couple of big plays and we lost our confidence. This is not a very experienced team, and when you lose your confidence early, it can get away from you, which it did. But today we kept our composure, played for 4 quarters. That's the best football game we played this year.
Your defense got back to being opportunistic again.
Defense played hard. We caused turnovers. But you look back at all of it, we scored on offense, but the kicking game was the key the first half.
Makes that return to Oxford a little more interesting next week, doesn't it?
Makes it always fun.
Thanks, Tommy. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Back up to you, Dave.
All right, thank you very much, Buzz. Tommy Tuberville, a happy, happy man. The final score from Auburn, 31-7. We'll see these Tigers next week. We will return to Jordan Hare right after this short timeout.